To his right is Mark Dennis, who's with CAA. He's an agent with CAA. This is the man that I think a lot of artists, as they work their way up the ranks, they hope that they will be involved in his. I mean, think about this guy. He's got Shania Twain, Alison Krauss in Union Station, Kelly Pickler, Kit Moore, just some of the artists that you work with, booking and touring and all of that through your work at CAA. Your word that you chose was?
Awesome.
Awesome. I don't think that's a word that you, is it? What did you say?
Sorry, I got a little wrapped up in my own bio there. I apologize. It was competitive. Yeah, which is great, but really difficult to manage. I'll start at the very, very top of our business. You know, 10 years ago, we had, you know, maybe 6 or 7 headliners in our format. Headliners, I mean, can, you know, sell out across the street at Bridgestone Arena, an arena tour or an amphitheater tour. Now, yesterday I counted, I think there are 23 artists in our formats that are going out this year playing those type of venues. So we're competing with other artists for real estate just to find places to play, you know, for all these people. You don't want to be the day before another show, you know, within the format because you might split up your audience. You're competing with sports teams, conventions, rock shows, hip hop, EDM now is a big thing. So it's very, very competitive just to find jobs for my clients, which at the end of the day, that's my job, you know, to find work for the clients that I represent. So at the headline level, it's become increasingly difficult to find places to play where the market is somewhat clean. It doesn't really exist anymore, as a matter of fact. I mean, when I started, there was this rule that you couldn't do a country show within 30 days of another country show, because the feeling was that the country fan was the same fan that was going to every show. That's not correct anymore. We do shows within 10 days of each other now because there are different fans within the same format. An Eric Church fan probably isn't the same person that goes to see Rascal Flatts. Zach Brown is completely different from the rest of the format. So we've sort of ignored some of those old like protection rules that we used to adhere to. But it still is very difficult, and you've got to fight for a day to put your shows on sale, you know, which is another challenge. You don't want to go on sale on the same day as somebody else that you're competing with. So it's become a highly, highly competitive situation, working your way down from that headline level. You know, you've got all these guys working their way up, trying to get there, so you got to find places for those guys to play too. And there's more than 22 of them. You know, there's maybe 50. Keep going down. The explosion of Nashville has created just a constant stream of really incredible talent into this town. You know, the kid who 20 years ago grew up in Nebraska and wanted to be a rock star, now he's growing up, he's seeing everything that's going on here and the way the music has evolved. He wants to come to Nashville. So we're getting just this amazing influx of talent here, all competing for the right agent, the right publisher, a record company, you know, the whole thing. And there's still about the same number of us doing it. So we've got to identify these guys a lot sooner, which creates, again, an extremely competitive situation where myself, my competitors, their competitors, we're having to identify these guys when they're, you know, in town and they have nothing going on except for a notebook full of songs and an acoustic guitar. So it's great, but it is challenging to manage, for sure.
So Mark, as far as breaking through, there's that wealth of talent that is coming in. If you're moving into Nashville and you're looking to, like Steve might say, be a little disruptive, but also appreciate kind of the structure that has been in place in Nashville for so long. How, or what would you say is the best thing that somebody could do to make a little noise and get noticed?
It's a good question, Blair, because you do, at least in country music, you still have to at least attempt to play by the rules. I mean, country radio, as you know better than anybody, is still just massive. And if you don't get played at country radio, I'm not saying you can't break through, it's just going to take a lot longer for you. We signed Zach Brown Band about 8 years ago. Just a group of us got really, really lucky and saw him play in a club in Atlanta where he was the house band. We weren't even in Atlanta to see Zach Brown. We were there for something else, and a friend of one of ours was just like, you need to go see this guy. It was just great. I mean, he was just really, really good music, and we had no idea what it was. Is this Jimmy Buffett? Is it Charlie Daniels Band? Is he Dave Matthews? What the hell is this music? I don't know, but it's amazing. Let's do it. You know, we started just grinding shows for him, mostly college markets. It wasn't really a country club thing. We went to rock clubs and college markets and just tried to get a, you know, sort of like a real regional base, mainly financially. I mean, it's really hard to go out to the West Coast when you're making $500 a night. But he had really specific ideas on how to break through. He wasn't going to chase country radio. It turns out we got lucky and country radio did embrace him, so the growth curve went a lot faster than we initially expected. But his idea was to make his shows an event. You know, he did these things called eat and greets. Zach owns a restaurant in Atlanta, and instead of just taking pictures with people and signing autographs, he would cook for them. You know, and that's a really, really personal connection, and people talk about it. We signed Casey Musgraves about 6 years ago. It's not an easy fit at country radio, and she knew that. She was very, very specific. I want to tour with Willie Nelson. I want to tour with Alison Krauss. I want to tour with Katy Perry. And yes, I'll go tour with Kenny Chesney. So we did all of that, literally in 1 year. So typically the talent will separate itself naturally. The live show has become more and more important. The touring is by far the most important marketing tool anybody has right now. So if you're good live, eventually in that first couple of years where you're trying to break yourself, you're going to kind of break through because you're better than everybody in a live situation.